There are 193 countries officially recognized by the United Nations. Together, they form our global community. The United Nations, like the World Bank, the IMF, the World Trade Organization, the Paris Climate Accord, and more recently, the Asian Infrastructure Development Bank, are all organizations which are open to the nations of the world that promote a rules-based global community, shared peace and prosperity. As these countries have very, very different political, economic, legal systems, and often different cultural and languages, after World War II, there was a vision that a world based on institutions, agreements, and rules where differences could be discussed, resolved without wars, without bloodshed, although there have been differences and conflicts over the years. The system, which was envisioned by U.S. President Woodrow Wilson, has been working fine for keeping the majority of the world safe and furthering the greatest global expansion in modern history. Today, the vision has changed. U.S. President Donald Trump has taken a U-turn. Over the last 2 years, Donald Trump has withdrawn from a number of international economic, political, and military groups, agreements, and accords.
Documented on the part of UNESCO that needs to come to an end.
The United States will withdraw from the Iran nuclear deal.
From the Paris Climate Accord.
From the Trans-Pacific Partnership, the NAFTA. WTO's treated the United States very badly.
It makes no sense for the United States to remain in a treaty that constrains our ability to respond to Russia's violations.
We are not going to let the United States be taken advantage of anymore.
Trump's worldview is that the U.S., the richest, most powerful economic nation in the world, has been systematically cheated by bad deals made by his predecessors, a global trade system which he says is rigged against the United States. However, Trump does not mention that while the U.S. has a smaller part of the global economic pie today, it has for the last 30 years, in combination with the EU and other developed nations, taken home 2/3 of the profits. Trump has also failed to acknowledge that U.S. companies left the U.S. to expand their global supply chains, taking advantages of lower production and labor costs, which are necessary for them to get a bigger slice of the global markets. Just take a look at Apple, an American company with no production facilities at home, yet has earned over 80% of the total profits from cell phone sales worldwide for the last 5 years. To muster popular support, Trump has told Americans that their problems are the fault of other countries, rather than the failure of those who made lots of money to share it. In December 2017, it was reported that the wealthiest 1% of American households owned 40% of the country's wealth. An interesting juxtaposition in 2015, when the numbers of the middle class dipped below 50% of the population for the first time since the post-war boom. So what is Donald Trump's strategy? Trump is convinced that this is the last chance to remake the world around the U.S. His intent is to use the U.S. economic, political, military support to dismantle the existing World War II order and create a bicycle wheel world where the U.S. is at the center and every nation is a spoke, using bilateral economic and security agreements. But his vision for America first has made the country more divided than ever and the world less safe. He has threatened nuclear Armageddon against North Korea, Iran. He has unilaterally withdrawn from nuclear missile treaties with Russia and Iran. Trump has ramped up arms sales to the highest levels in history and then sent Navy combat ships through the Straits of Taiwan. In all, Donald Trump has made the world less safe and secure. With climate change threatening the survival of 1 billion people, with America's massive increase in arms sales, unilateral withdrawals from economic, political, and military accords, and unilateral trade tariffs, it seems that it is even more urgent for the rest of the world to stand together against the storm of a world made more uncertainty than ever.